Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, I'm going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So last time, I kind of fixed this area on all the angles, and I think it's looking pretty good on most of them. So today, I think I'm going to do a bunch of touch-ups in various places that I saw, and then I'm going to go in and work on her side hair. All the strands dropping down from there. So I didn't actually see too many places I wanted to correct. I think I got most of it pretty good, just while I was going through. So, hopefully, we can indeed just start getting the side hair over here looking good. I'm just going to start with this side, and then I'll do this side after. But first, I do want to do a little bit of touching up in some areas that I kind of had my eye on here. Something about that area was just not looking quite right to me. It's mostly right, but I feel like I can make it just a little bit better. So I'm gonna start there. And there's a couple of little points like this. They're all pretty small, though. I'm quite happy with how everything is looking. So right now what I'm looking at is, if you look closely here, you can see that there's like a little bump that comes out of the front bang there. And I need to put it back in here. The parts that I was adjusting before was just a matter of fairly simple, straightforward. I thought that it was moving up a little bit too high. And now that I think I have it in a better spot, I can start trying to get that little bump that's supposed to be there back in. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, let me just check everywhere else and make sure that there's nothing in that area that's bothering me. I thought it was pretty good. I will check my diagonals as well. Yeah, seems pretty good. Okay, on to the next spot that I saw, which was left turn, just right back there. That was just a small area that I was working with yesterday, but I do not think I flattened out this part quite enough. There's just a small little bulge. Yeah, there we go. Now it's a little bit flatter through there, so that should line up a little bit better here. I'm always amazed by how flat and straight some of the hair is. Catches me by surprise every time. You'd think that after like the third or fourth time it would stop doing that, but, well, here we are. Sometimes things just kind of work out like that. Okay, now I'm just double checking right here to make sure that I think it's okay. I think there's something I want to adjust there a little bit too. There's like a point where the line gets a little bit thicker. And I think that point is a little bit too high on this angle. So I just kind of want to gently lower it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, and something kind of similar here too. The joy of small details. It's okay, it's important. I do think that getting all those small details right really elevates everything. It's true of just drawing it as well. Cannot neglect the details. Okay, there we go. I think that's a lot better. And so now the last spot was just in the lower right turn, this spot here. But only the lower right turn. I think all of the other ones, literally every single one, besides this one, looks fine. So I just need to figure out how to get this to look right. Okay. How am I gonna do that? I'm not sure. That's why I saved it for last. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. How am I gonna fix this? Maybe the mesh has some ideas. I have a couple. I think some of the vertices are sliding down. Yeah. And that's probably not helping. So maybe if I slide some of these guys back up here. I can kind of see why I wanted it like that. But if it's not working, it's not working. And I should try something else. So hopefully, once I get that shape a little bit better, it'll look a little bit less like her head is caving in that area. That is kind of a feature you don't want in your heads. And besides, I definitely don't want her to make it look like her head is caving in. She needs room for her brain. It's very important. She must be able to think clearly. Alright, I think that fixed that part, which is good, but I see a little bit more that I want to fix at the bottom here. Not much. I think it's pretty close. I just didn't like the angle there, so I think I just needed to raise but one little vertex right there. And then all will be well, in theory. I do wish I cut this area a little bit better, so this way I didn't have to have this weird shenanigan with the hair strand there, but I can't think of a better way to do it. So, it just gotta be this way. Alright, feeling pretty good. So now, I can go and do her side hair. And at some point I might take another look at her ears, because I'm not sure if I like them. Like, this one's fine, but this one's weird in the downward turn. am I doing to the ears anyway? Let me take a look. No particular scaling or anything. Yeah, I'm not doing anything particularly special. Hello there, Anubis. Thanks for stopping by, even if you can't stay for long. How are you doing today? Yeah, let me see. What do I dislike about the ear here? What is bothering me about it so much? Am I not doing any rotations? I thought I was. No, I'm not. Okay, that's good. Oh! Interesting. Where are you traveling to? Yeah. Where are you headed? Alright, so here I'm gonna try to figure out where the ears are relative to the eyes and stuff. Oh, Colombia. Nice, I've never been that far south. Haven't been to South America personally. But I think it's a pretty neat little continent. I personally enjoy Spanish culture quite a bit. Used to be able to speak more Spanish than I can now. Well, I hope you have a good vacation. Okay, no, I think that's right. So maybe it's just these corners where I don't really want the extra rotation. Alright. Yeah, I imagine speaking the language would help, but I imagine they're used to tourists that cannot, so hopefully you won't have too much trouble. What made you decide to go there? Is there really no rotation there? Oh yeah, because my scaling? Okay. Alright. Yeah, so your family picked the location? Well, regardless, I hope you have a fun trip. That part of the world is really pretty. I see. Oh no. But yeah, that area is a really pretty part of the world. Like I said, I've never been in there in person, but I am vaguely aware of what South America is like. So, I hope you have a good time, and I hope you don't get too jet-lagged with all that flying you apparently have to do. Good luck! Where are you going after that? Yeah, it's a lot of flying. It really is. Hmm. Oh wow, that is quite a trip. Quite far indeed. That's okay. I figured. I am familiar with my American abbreviations. Well, I hope you have a lot of fun. It sounds like it'll be quite the trip. Yeah, the first time definitely is very nerve-wracking. I don't think I flew by myself until like my early 20s, so... And even then, it was still kind of scary. I think I was like 22 or 23, I forget. But yes. That's okay, it's not so bad. I always felt like airports looked really, really chaotic when I was a kid, and I had no idea how my parents were navigating it. But then when I actually had to do it myself, I was like, wait, this is actually pretty straightforward. Didn't have any reason to worry about it. Okay, I think that's a bit better for the ears. The coolest place I've ever been. I mean, if we're gonna be punny about it, I've been to kind of central northern Canada. And that was indeed very cold. But in terms of places that I really like, I actually just really like where I live. I live in the mountains, and the mountains are very pretty. And I like them lots. Lots of cool features here. One of the many reasons I don't get out much. I couldn't resist. Canada was indeed very cool. Very cold, even. Alright. Now I finished the touch-ups I want to do, so I believe it is time to start adjusting the side hair here. I have been ignoring it for a long time, because I knew that someday I would want to fix a bunch of this, and I just wanted to focus on the higher parts of her hair first. pretty good. I rather enjoy my life and all it is, so every day is generally a pretty good day. I don't always have a lot to talk about because my life is not what most people would consider exciting, but it is exactly what I want it to be. Same. I never wanted an especially exciting life or anything. I personally like how things are going. Just get up, do the things I like, go make some cool stuff, and it's a good day. And then eventually my kids get up and I get to go play with them. And that is also a good time. Yeah. It makes me pretty happy. Thank you, and I hope you have a nice trip. Alright, so right now I'm just trying to really get the shape of this right. I don't mind it being a little bit straighter. And then there were some lines that I thought were being kind of stretched out and squirmy in certain places, and I wanted to fix those. Those were minor enough that if it was anywhere but right next to her eyes, I probably wouldn't have bothered. But it was right next to her eyes. Like, these lines are literally overlapping with her eyes. So I wanted to make sure that I had all that pretty much perfect. So I'm going to focus on kind of this area here. I actually think most of this looks pretty good. It's actually just like some of these interior lines that are a little bit off. And maybe some stuff down there. I haven't scrutinized that area quite as closely yet. I'm just going to start with this area along her face. And then I'll worry about the insides. But yeah, I think I did pretty good with this the last time I went through it. So now let's see how all of this has to shake out here. This part's always kind of annoying because, for whatever reason, my past self thought it was a good idea to split the textures there into 2 layers, but still have them kind of overlapping each other. That is something I would rather not do again. At the very least, if I wanted to have this highlight portion on a separate layer, I would be sure to paint the layer underneath it differently just make it like a solid color or something. So that this way I wouldn't have to worry about lining things up quite like that. So that is information I will take with me into the future. Keep losing track of my layer there. Alright, and then there's this really weird spot that's just like a slightly darker color throughout all this. And I want to make sure that's in the right spot too. Like, this is all stuff that's right next to her eyes and really kind of defines the shape of her face a bit. So I want to get this as close and as accurate as I can. Back here, I was willing to mess around a little bit. Up here, no messing around allowed. Gotta be serious again. That's why I had to think about some things for a second there. That's alright, I think I got this. Might just take a few tweaks to really get everything into place. But I'm really happy that this actually looks a lot better than I remember it looking. Because it's really just the areas up here, because I was like, man, I know all of this is wrong, and I'm going to have to redo so many things, and just thinking about it makes me a little bit tired. But then it turns out it's not so bad. The part that I wasn't looking at down here, since I was so focused up here, actually pretty good. Actually pretty good. Okay, yeah. And I remembered this time that there's a little slight angle change at the top here. I had almost forgotten about that, but it's very slight. I emphasized it a little bit more at this angle because I thought it would look cool. And I was correct. So I still just gotta get that weird, slightly darker part there. It's not quite lined up yet. And I keep losing my layer. There it is. Look, keeping track of all these layers is hard, okay? I have like, what, 30-something for hair alone? I get the feeling it's gonna get even worse once I move into the body turns. That's alright. I think I'm still, when I do get into the body turns, I'm only gonna rig this like a half body, so I don't think her lower body's gonna move like at all. I cut it out that way just in case I wanted to, but I don't think I want to. Okay, seems pretty good. So now I'll just touch some things up right here. Just because I changed this a little bit, I need to make sure it kind of follows all the way down. Doesn't need to move too far though, because I actually think most of that's looking pretty good. So now I'm gonna do some super intense staring and make sure that I like everything I did there. Because man, if that's everything, I'm gonna be so happy. Because I thought this was gonna be more of a thing. But no, it looks like I actually got the tips looking really nice. The last time I worked on this, I really like the way it looks like this one is kind of just going into the background a bit. Okay, I still feel like this is... something over there is not quite right. I think it's okay for the strand to be showing a little bit more, but I do think that the big clump of hair here is still a little bit wide right through there. Okay, and then just various things that I need to shape properly over here. I pushed in a little piece over there and kind of tried to move the higher parts along with it, but it didn't quite work out, so gotta fix it up still. I'll find a good balance here eventually. Might just take a couple of tries, but that's fine. I'll just try not to cross back into that line that made me think it was too thick in the first place. And I actually think that I can poof here out a little bit more. I forgot just how, I don't know, poofy this part over here is. Some things just poof out all over the place. Okay. That looks a little bit more full. So let's see how it looks in motion. Unfortunately, I think that's the best I can do with that strand. A little bit unfortunate, but I think it's okay. It'll be fine. Alright, I think that's looking pretty good. So let's go do the right side. What do I need to fix on the right side here? Ah, it's actually looking a lot better than I thought it would. Once again, I think I actually have less to fix than I thought I did. I was very scared. it is true that I did work pretty hard on a lot of this area in the past. It looks like my past self did better than I gave her credit for. So I'm gonna have to apologize to my past self here. Things are looking pretty good. And a lot of the stuff that don't is just due to some changes I've made in various places. Yeah, I don't think I moved this line around here quite as much as I did on the left side. So I guess I will probably have less to do on the right. Oh man, at this rate, maybe I can actually get started on the other side here too. That one I noticed more problems with. But I think a lot of the problems I noticed on that one were corner specific. But even so, I will take a very close look at all of this and be sure to get everything just the way that I want it. This will be ideally the final pass for a lot of these things. Okay, looks pretty good. Is there anything else here that I want to fix up? The very tip of this hair here needs to just kind of move in a little bit. Just a tiny bit there. But the default angle here, there's just a slight little curve to it. You can see it sharply changes angle right there. So I kind of want a similar thing on all of my other turns. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Is there anything else I want to fix about it? Yeah, it looks like there's some sliding upward happening. And I'm pretty sure I can make it look a little bit better than that if I just consult the mesh and give it like 2 minutes. Sometimes it is that easy. Yep, that seems better. Okay, let's do up and down now. Still just gonna do the one on this side. I'm gonna get that in all turns before I move on to the one on the other side. Okay, I notice a few more issues here, so this one might actually take me a little bit longer to fix. So let's see here. How do I want to get started? I think what I want to do is I just want to take all of those layers here, select about up to here or so, and just push the entire thing very slightly upward. It's gonna look a little weird until I fix it, but I just felt like everything over there was being a little bit stretched out. So now I can work on getting the vertices a little bit more even. A little bit more evenly spaced here. Okay, and more importantly, more evenly spaced here. Where I really felt like a lot of this was being stretched out and pulled. Once again, I want that slight little curve at the top there. Just a tiny little angle change there. Alright, I still feel like it's being stretched, so I'm going to consult the mesh here. I'm pretty sure the reason it is looking like it's being stretched is because of this layer. Right here. Okay. A lot of it is actually due to the outside angles here. The outside vertices just making the triangles not straight. Alright, let's see how that is. This is once again an area very, very close to her eyes. So I want it to be a little bit more accurate here than I would otherwise care about. This is where I lament that the color of my lines here is almost the same color as the hair. It's okay. I know UI changes are coming. So I'm kind of hoping that this is an issue that gets fixed too. I'm not sure if there's an issue for it or not yet. I haven't really looked into it, but it's fine. I can work with it. Alright. I think that is looking a lot better. Doesn't so much look like it's being stretched out, but it's still not quite the right spot. Alright, I think that spot is looking good now. So now I just gotta worry about the outside part. Well, on the outside. So the outside part right over here. It was a little bit thin and also being kind of pulled down and stretched out a little bit too. And then I'll just keep working my way down the strand. I like the way this bottom curl looks, but the top one I think still needs some work. So that'll be something I want to get to as well. Alright, made it a little bit too thick. In just a couple of little spots. Okay, maybe there's still some spots being a little bit stretched out. I thought I got them all, but I think I missed a couple. It's alright, I'll get them right now. I think I want to pull a lot of this down, actually. So I think that's what's giving it the quality of looking a little bit stretched out. And then the next area I need to fix is just everything down through there. Right here. Right there is not quite working out. Okay, yeah, that's much better. I think I got it. So now I'm just gonna continue on down. And man, I'm looking at the time, and all that actually took much longer than I thought it did. It felt like it was going so fast. But I think I must have just been having a good time. Time flies when you're having fun. Rigging is kind of weird like that, because like I'm sure that all the things I'm doing right now, just all the little changes to make it just that little bit better, and just how small all the things that I'm doing now are, probably look a little bit tedious, and in a lot of ways they are. Like, I'm not even going to dispute that. It is a little bit tedious sometimes. But even so, I do, unironically, have a good time doing it all. I do think it is legitimately fun. And I think a lot of things with art is like that, regardless of the type of art that you're making. And that most of the stuff comes together fairly quickly and early on, and then those last 6 hours, you know, cover maybe 2% of the work. Just getting it just right. But I think that level of polish is the difference between more amateur works and more professional looking ones. Of just knowing where to put that extra time. And even though it is kind of tedious, There's a certain joy to it. It really is. Because when it's all said and done, I get to look at it and be like, yeah, that's great. There's something about the process that's oddly satisfying too. Alright, I think it's getting pretty close. I'm going to consult the mesh for the last little bit. Because there's just a little spot that's a little bit off right through here, and I'm having trouble identifying exactly what. It's just a tiny bit of sliding that I don't like. That might honestly just be it. Like I said, it was quite small. That's why I was having trouble pinpointing the exact issue. Okay, no, it's not quite there yet. Let me look at this one more time, because it looks like there's a little spot that... a little tiny bump right there. And indeed, I do not have a tiny little bump right there in my upward turn. So that could very well be my problem. So just get that tiny little bump in there. Okay, yeah, there we go. That seems much better. Let's zoom out and take a look at the whole thing. Right now what's really important is that I can have her head move left and right and up and down without much being disturbed. Like, I can see that I have some things to fix in my downward turns here. So I'll start there first. And once I'm satisfied with how they look, then I'll worry about getting her to be able to nod perfectly. Okay. Man, I got this super close. But there's something off about it, so I need to stare super intensely here. Okay. Yeah, I think I found it. But I can tell that I was very thorough about this my last time through. It looks pretty good. There's just a couple of spots that aren't lining up quite right for me. And those are the ones I need to get now. So it looked to me like that strand was getting a little bit thin, so I just thickened out the edge a little bit more, and now I'm going to see if that lines up better. I think it does, and then I also think that the top of this tiny, tiny little strand here needs to come out of hiding just a little bit more. It's being perhaps a little bit too shy. Gotta make it come on out. Maybe not that much. Very top needs to come back in. A little bit of a stronger curl right there. Okay. Let's try that now. Nope, still a little bit more, but I think this is actually going to be small enough that I want to just adjust the vertices manually right there. Alright, that seems pretty good. Now let's take a look at everything else. Okay, so this time, this bottom curl is gonna need a little bit of work. Because it looks like it's getting shorter, and not in a good way. Honestly, the top one curl needs a little bit of work too. So, I guess my bottom turn is just a little bit messier than the rest. That's alright, I'll get it too. But I am going to start at the top first. And much like my left turn, that area that's just a little bit darker got super stretched out somehow. So I'll go put that back into place. I'm looking at the top here. Do I like how it's covering her eye? I like the way it looks, but do I like the way it moves? I think I have the angle slightly wrong. Okay, I should fix that. I should fix that first. I don't think it'll take very much to do so, so just go right on in. Man, the vertices over here got really close together somehow. It's not quite like that in any other angle, so I'm concerned. But I guess it's working out. I think it looks okay. I guess I don't need to be that concerned. It is a bit annoying to move this area now, though. Okay, well, here's hoping that my brush can help me out. This way I don't have to move all of these pieces. Okay, yeah, that's much better. And now there's just a spot right there. That is not quite right. Let me stare at this one more time, just so I get a better idea on how I want to fix it. Okay. I think it actually seems pretty straightforward. Just gotta slide some vertices down and poof things out a bit. So I get to let that part of her hair cover her eye a little bit more, at least. Okay, a little bit more, kind of at the base of the dark part of the line here. Just gonna take it nice and slow, do a little bit at a time. And see if it needs more. A little bit more. Just a little bit. Almost there. Okay. Alright, I think I got that area good now. So now I can get back into over here. Yeah, I think that whole area is really good, even just up through here and all of that. So let's see what I still want to fix up here, because I can tell there's some stuff. There's some compression happening. So the vertices are being a little bit squished together. Okay, and I see why it's happening. Then straighten out the triangles here. Yeah, no wonder things were looking a little bit strange right through there. Okay, just moving everything very carefully. Very, very carefully, because I don't think that there's a lot of problems here. So there's that little bump that was tripping me up a little bit on What was it? Was it my left head turn? I'm not sure. Might have been the upward head turn. There's a little bump right through there that I do not currently have in, so I need to make sure that it is there. There's a surprising number of little textures through that area. I can see lots of little color changes as I'm trying to figure this out. Definitely makes my life a little bit harder, but it does make the hair very pretty. I like it lots. These little strands tend to be surprisingly finicky. It's because I want to keep their shape fairly close. But I also still need to move them, so it leaves me in an awkward situation where stuff has to move around and I have to make sure it's like perfectly in place. Otherwise everything just starts looking a little bit funny. And the hair kind of starts waving a bit more than I want. And if I have it waving a bit more than I want when I start making her, you know, properly headbang and nod and stuff, it's not going to look quite right. As you can see here, I do not have things quite 100% properly lined up. And thus, things look a little bit funny when her head goes all the way from the bottom to all the way to the top. So I gotta line certain parts here up a little bit better still. Probably gonna be going back and forth between this upward turn and the bottom turn quite a lot the next couple of minutes here. It's actually pretty important that I really get this lined up, because right now it's squirming something fierce. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So it looks like I might not get into the corners today, because I'm getting pretty hungry. And with a lot of this super detailed work, my brain gets pretty tired pretty fast. But I think I can at least finish my top and bottom turns here. And then I'll do corners tomorrow. Okay, I think it's getting there. This time I noticed that there's this light area and then a very slightly darker spot right on top of it. And that slightly darker spot was a little bit too thick. So we're gonna push that back in a little bit. Get that highlight nice and bright, as all things should be. Alright, I think I can go back to working on the lower turn again. So I see something in the shadow of this strand right there. Needs to be a little bit more in. A little bit larger. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And now that tiny, tiny little strand right here. Need to get him in the right place and be the right shape. He was being a little bit bent. And that's just no good. Her hair is not a wire. You can't just bend it and expect it to keep shape. That's why we need hairspray. Yeah, this the whole little strand is actually pretty far off. It's alright, I'll get it there. Let's straighten this out just a bit. Try to keep that tiny little curl at the bottom. But everything else has got to come out a little bit more. Get away from the rest of the hair clump. Okay. I think that's mostly good. I still see a lot of sliding though, so I'm going to go ahead and consult the mesh and see if I can use that to help me straighten out some of these vertices. Get them right where they need to live. And where they can be happy and peaceful forever. So after all, I am kind of hoping that this will be my last pass through all of this. So I am looking for what amounts to their permanent residence, where they will never want to move again. Still something kind of coming out right through there. Let's see if I can identify it. Yeah, I see it. I think I know what vertex controls that. Just trying to move things very, very carefully now. Because I think everything is pretty close to being in the right spot, so I don't want to move things too much. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So now I'm going to go back and looking at the tips here. Pretty close to getting this one, I think. Let me bring her head all the way up and down and see if there's anything that really jumps out at me. Just a little. Right through here. We'll probably need to consult the mesh soon. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to consult the mesh right now. Okay, so all it is that for whatever reason, these two are a little closer together and these two are a little further apart. That's pretty funny. Okay, there's something about how I'm handling the little bump there that's not quite working out for me. Yeah, like there's a couple here that are like being squeezed together. So that means one is going too far up and one is going too far down. Need to figure out exactly what that means here. I think it might just be this. Nope, there's still a little spot right there. I'm gonna stare at that as closely as I can here. So let's see, what is causing right there? Okay, that seems fine. There's a little bit of stretching and stuff, but I don't think it's very noticeable, so I'm not going to worry about it. I wasn't even zoomed out all the way, and even I didn't find it particularly noticeable back there. So I think it's okay. But I do want to get the angle that this bang swooshes off her face just right. Don't want to mess around with the swooshing. Swooshing is important. Indeed, it is a lot easier to see some of the problems now that I have the bottom turn looking pretty good too. So I can very carefully adjust these strands on both of those angles together. But I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. I think that looks good. Now let me adjust the very bottom right here. It got kind of pushed in, it looks like. Not sure how else to describe it. There's a little part here that was a little bit flatter than I felt like it should be. So just poof that out a bit. Yeah, and that's a lot better. Okay, now I just gotta fix everything down here. So the first things first is I felt like, where is it? The very tip of this was a little bit short, so I'm gonna lengthen things there. And I also felt like over here was being pushed in a little bit too. So I'll floof that out just a bit. And I'll see how that all lines up with everything. Okay, the very tip is still not quite there, but let me check everything else. Okay. That is much closer, but I still see a couple of things that I want to fix up here. Some of these need to come down just a little bit. And then, of course, the very tip here still needs to come out just a tad. Okay, and I think that's looking pretty good. So, tomorrow I'll do the corners. And then I can get into this one. And then over here. And then over here. And that'll be everything, because I'm going to do this part down here with her body turns. So that is quite exciting. I'm getting there. Almost there, man. Just slowly crawling my way to the finish line. But I'll get there. But I think this is where I will stop for today. So, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I'll see you all tomorrow.